Eastern Michigan. It's interesting. They're kind of like us in this sense. They've played good defense the first quarter of games. When you think about it, their opponents have scored no points. We've done the same. They're kind of slow offensively getting started. They've only scored 7 points in 2 games in the first quarter. We've only scored 6. But there's some similarities there when you kind of look at them play. They get operating and going. They do a nice job defensively. They're big and physical. They run to the football. Well-coordinated group. Offensively, quarterback does a nice job with the RPO game. They have some talented receivers. They can run the ball. They throw the ball, and they run and catch. Have some big tight ends as well. Have 3 big tight ends that are part of the passing game. So they're a well-rounded football team. They seem, toward the end of the games, they've given up some plays, but they've been very, very consistent as a defense for the most part. And offensively, the quarterback has enough wiggle room where if you let him get on the edge, he can run some. Those are nice deep ball. They're very experienced on defense. They played together for a while. You can tell that they're very experienced that way. So this will be a good football game. Be a good football game for us coming off a tough loss and now having to play these guys. It's gonna wake us up when you watch the tape. Questions?
Michelle Gardner, Arizona Republic. Coach, after the game Saturday, you briefly discussed the penalties and the fact that most of them were defensive, competitive type penalties.
Yes.
After watching the film, what is your take on those?
Well, you always feel like maybe one of them or 2 of them, maybe not so much, right? But I thought the guys in an environment like that, playing a lot of man-to-man coverage on some pretty talented players. I mean, you're gonna get a couple fouls like that. That's the nature of it when you play man-to-man. You know that you're gonna get them. They're pushing, we're shoving, they're pushing. It goes back and forth. I mean, it just does. It's just football, and you see it at any level when you play tight coverage like that. So you can live with some of those. The problem is that there were some of the fouls were at the wrong time. Just wasn't intentional, but at the wrong time where you either stalled a drive out on offense, the ones we had, or defensively kept a drive alive. And you can't give a team like we just played second chances. Their offense is good. I said the defense wore out, and you could just kind of tell. They played 84 plays, counting the penalties, 93. Well, if you play that many plays, you're going to give up a couple plays against a good offense. And they had a good offense. And to play that many snaps, you're just asking for trouble. Now, you got to get off the field. I mean, that's part of it, too. You have to get off the field. You can't allow them first downs. But when you give them that many plays, they're a good enough offense, they're going to make some plays on them. Offense? Yeah.
I know the combination of factors, protection issues, maybe your routers weren't running properly. Didn't have any scrambles from your quarterback for any first down, which had a lot of those in recent years.
Yes.
So just what are your thoughts after watching it all? And also you were behind the chains, like 6 of 13.
Yeah, you mentioned it. We got behind the chains early on some downs and then didn't convert. And we've got to do a better job. Obviously on third down. When you look at our third down percentage right now, it's not very good. It's like 23%. Well, that's you can't live in that world, no matter who you play. This week we can't struggle on third downs. We just can't. We gotta convert them, because then you get a first down, then you get 3 more plays, and then you keep your defense off the field and you can possess the ball. You have more opportunities. So that's something we've struggled with. That and scoring early, right? I mean, that's 2 factors in games. Our defense has been good enough to keep us in the game. But you can't keep playing football like that. We have to get better, and we will.
How much of that do you think is attributable to protection issues?
Well, protection, obviously, when they put you in the known down and you're on the road and they can rush you, that becomes a little bit of a problem as well. So I just think that when all of that stuff's a factor in it all. And the answer is real simple. Stay out of third and longs. just stay out of them.
Obviously, you prefer Emory to be a passer, let him have to run around so much. But were there situations where you thought like maybe
I'm never going to second guess the quarterback. I don't do that. I just think that, quarterbacks like Emory, they have instincts, and he's a guy that wants to sit in the pocket. He'll sit in there, and just try to wait it out sometimes. So I just think that every game presents a different problem or result, and you can always say, well, I wish he'd have ran more. Well, okay, but then all of a sudden you don't sit in the pocket, and then you leave, and things come open. So there's this fine line. I think the more he plays and the more he understands our offense and the people in the offense, where if it breaks down and some receiver has to come out of his route and do something for him, I think that's a part of it too. So he'll get better. But I thought for the most part he hung in there. I mean, he got hit, got sacked, and he hung in there. I mean, he didn't flee right as soon as the ball was hiked. He's standing there and he said, I want to see this develop. Good for him. He's a tough quarterback.
Coach, you talked about Oklahoma State with 84 plays. You guys ended up with 60. I'm sure you'd rather be in that 70-play range.
We would. And,
Third downs were an issue.
yeah, and that's what always gets you third downs. You have to convert on third downs, and we got to do a better job of converting those. And our offense knows it. I mean, they know it. The players know it. And we got to make sure that when we get in those situations, 3rd and 4 and less, that you got to kind of convert those. It's hard, but you got to do it. You have to make it happen so you can continue to possess the ball. And that's when you play a team like we played, or any team, you play this defense. They bring pressure. You get some 3rd and longs, they're bringing 5 or 6 guys, and you better block them, because if you don't, they're going to get you. And so you want to stay out of it, and they do a nice job of sometimes showing pressure and then backing out of there, right? So they play the cat and mouse game with their defense. So, we have to convert 3rd downs. There's no doubt about that.
How did you like the run-pass balance in the offense? 37 rushes, 28 passes.
Well, I think, obviously, going into a game like that, you don't want to try to drop back and throw. You want to kind of get it. The first half was kind of okay, and then score in the 3rd quarter. Now you got a feel of the game, right? Because you didn't want it to get away from us too fast. And I've told you guys this before. I know most people say, well, you don't want to throw passes. No, I just want to win. And if I have to throw 50 passes in a game and they say, well, that's what you got to do to win this game, then we'll throw 50 passes. But I just think you also got to understand who you're facing. What's the opponent like, right? They kind of have something to do with it too. And you start going 3 and outs, right? And you keep putting that offense on the field, eventually they're going to get you. And they're good enough to do that. And 80-something plays is too much for any defense. You don't want to do. I think last year, that was one of the seasons. I think it was last year, or somebody we played. I remember we almost played 100 plays, played 95 plays, and I'm like, you can't do that. Was it SC? Yeah. I mean, you can't do that. That's just, you get opportunities, but you can't give them 90 opportunities, right? So you got to get off the field, and that defense, you have to get off the field. That's a little bit on you too.
Coach Michael Caratino, Sideline
Yes,
Sports.
sir.
You talk about, obviously the defense was able to get some turnovers, but usually in the season, the growth of, offense and defense, but focusing on the defense from week 1 to week 2. I know you just said the opportunities, but what did you like from the defense, and how did you feel they grew in this game?
Well, I thought for the most part, you're playing a challenging offense like that to be able to withstand it in the first quarter and a half of the onslaught of what it looks like of playing a quarterback that's very mobile, that can make some plays with his legs and can extend some plays. And then they've got some talented receivers. To play in a game like that and to keep it where it was early in that game, it gave us a chance. And that's what we said. We had to withstand the first 10 minutes of it, right, of all of that. And I thought offensively we were okay. We didn't turn the ball over. We moved it, got on the board. Wish we could have scored a touchdown, but that wasn't the result. But the more we played it, the more you get a feel of the game, right? And the players get a feel of the people they're playing against, and that was important for us. Then the 3rd quarter in that game, I thought, I challenged them at halftime. Hey, we get some points on the board, and if we do, we got a shot. That's why, most coaches obviously defer because you feel like if you're on the road, you know, our strength going into that game, I felt, was our defense. And I said, let's put them out there. Let's put them out there right now and let's figure this thing out so they could get a feel of the game. And then they did a nice job. They did a nice job in the first quarter. They really did.
Herm, you've got a good story emerging on your wide receiver group in Gio Sanders, a young man that I don't want to say has come out of nowhere, but can you talk about Gio and what he's his journey and what he's been able to contribute to your team?
Yeah, walk-on obviously earned a scholarship, and we've been fortunate. I think we've given 6 of those since I've been there, maybe more than that. I lost count. But was a guy that just wanted an opportunity, and that's what life's about, giving an opportunity, right? And he took advantage of it. Last year you saw it. It was kind of, I always tell them the story, you know, when I put you on scholarship, first game you went out there, you got knocked out. You couldn't even play on a kickoff, right, or something like that. And I always tease him about that. But he's really done a nice job, and he's got some moxie to him. Game's not too big for him. I mean, he made that one catch going in there and, you know, leaving his feet, and you can trust him, and the quarterback's starting to trust him. You know, he's in the slot. He's a nifty guy. He can read coverage. He works his way open. He's a really good football player, and he's earned a scholarship. There's no doubt about it. And now, all of a sudden, the ball's coming to him, right? Quarterbacks know who to get the ball to in certain situations.
Hi, I'm Herm Edwards, Devil's Digest. When it comes to the second half, what do you think changed for the offense to be more productive, converting more thirds down, putting points on the board? What was the difference between both
Well,
halves?
I think, for one, you know, I always say football is the information center on the sideline, where you gather information, you give it to the players, and then when you get into halftime, because college football, you know, it's a little longer than pro football. It seems like pro football, you go in there, time you get locked, you turn around, you come back out. But you can make some adjustments, and you can talk about, you know, what we need to do, and I think where the game is, and that's a big discussion I had with the team. I said, this is critical now. There's a reason that we did what we did. We deferred. I said, now the third quarter is going to be really big for us to get a drive, and we've moved the ball, but we got to go score a touchdown, right? And they did a nice job of that. Made a big play or two and got in the end zone, and I thought that was good to see, right, when you challenge them that way. So that's a good thing. We've been pretty good out of halftime so far, right? Even last week we were slow. Week before that we were slow, and then we kind of got going. But it's always good when you can put some points on the board with your first possession in the third quarter. Just gives you up. It uplifts everybody, right? It uplifts your whole football team.
Jordan and Nick.
Coach Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. With Utah and USC in a couple of weeks, you know, it might be easy to overlook this game for fans or for players. What sort of conversations are you having with the team right now to make sure you're not?
Well, the team's off today, obviously, but just when you put the tape on, and there's some cut-ups I'm gonna show them on offense and defense. This is who we're playing, right? And these guys have, you know, they play hard, and they're coming in here to win. I mean, don't make no mistake. And you know, as I said, they have a nice offense. They do a nice job on defense, rallying to the ball, tackling. They're physical up front. Got a big old line. Got some big. So they're a good football team. So that's the last thing we can do is worry about. We need to worry about right now. We need to get another win, right? We just lost the game. I mean, you don't want to start doing that. I mean, you got to get going. So we'll make them understand. Now they got to go play. One thing I can't do is play. I can give them all the information, but I can't play for them. All I can do is get them to the game, and then from there, we got to go.
Herm, how much time do you spend with the guys looking back, watching film and talking about the Oklahoma State game? And does that change on a weekly basis based on whether it was a win or loss? How much you look back?
I think every situation is a little different. And this one was one of looking at the game as far as not the physical part, not the talent part, just the mental things, being focused. You know, you can't lose your focus in football because all it takes is one play. And you're thinking, well, I'm relaxing. Well, then it happens. And then I said, you know, when that happens, not only do you let yourself down, but you let everyone in this room down. You know, that's the great thing about football team is trust. You know, there's 11 guys that have to do their job correctly. And when one guy messes up, you know, sometimes it can be like, it's not a big deal. But most of the time, it is a big deal. And you can't allow that to happen. And that's what we kind of talked about after the game. Like, when the game was played, when you watch yourself on tape, look how much of that was us. Some of that was us. Had nothing to do with the opponent. We can fix that. You can fix the us part, right? You can do that. But it's a hard game. You got to stay mentally focused all the time. That's what football, because you never know what play is about to happen. You know, you run in your mind, this is not a big play. It could be. Could be. And that's the uniqueness of the game.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Herm, it looked like Stillwater was a little bit of a rowdy crowd. How do you think the team handled it? And did you get to see more excitement from your guys in that type of environment?
I thought they were pretty calm. They have a good fan base behind us, and they were making a lot of noise, and they were good. I mean, that's what you anticipated. You know, I enjoy that. You know, I don't hear because I got the headphones on for the most part, but you could just feel it, and our players did a good job of just focusing in on what was taking place and playing. And I thought our coaches did a good job of coaching them on the sideline, you know, because you're getting help from the fan base. They're telling you, well, you need to do this, you need to do that, right? When you're in your huddle with your players, so that's kind of unique too. But I thought it was a college experience that, you know, you don't forget. I mean, you get it. You know, that's college football, no doubt.
Coach, just Kyle's performance on defense, 16 tackles, interception, tackle for loss, pressure. I mean, what does that do for the defense and his leadership, or what moving forward, I guess?
Well, I think you just said his leadership. And he's playing with his brother, right? So I know they're very competitive. But he had an outstanding game. There's no doubt about that. When you make that many plays, I mean, make that many tackles, and you credited him with, obviously, interception and tackle for a loss. It's just fun to watch him from when I first arrived here to now, right? Person he's become, the leader he's become, you know, and he's willing to go out there and he'll say things, you know, when I don't have to say it, I can just tell him, some of the other leaders say, you need to go handle this. You got it, coach. Go handle it. And you always feel good when you have players like that in your locker room. And then when they play good, you just wish we would have won, because he probably would have got some award or something, right? If you win a game like that, he's probably Pac-12 player maybe of the week, right? And that's a shame, you know, but for him, probably the most important thing for him is that, you know, yeah, I did all that, coach, but we didn't win. We went down there to try to win a football game.
Can you address maybe how you guys came out of the game from an injury
Yeah,
standpoint, and also your take on a guy like a Jordan that was hurt that came back and played?
Yeah, he played about, you know, we played so many plays. I want to say he played almost 30 snaps. He did a nice job of really rotating there with DJ, and we needed him because they opened it up some. He's a nickel guy. Sometimes I had to go in there a dime. But for not playing and, you know, and going out there and playing that many snaps, that's always hard to get in football condition. He did a nice job, but that's what you anticipate. He's a smart player. As far as the injury front, I think for the most part we're okay. You know, we got a couple guys back, and knock on wood that nothing happens between today and tomorrow when I go to, you know, when I go out here. And I haven't talked to Jerry yet, and I don't want to say anything because I did that a week ago and ended up giving you guys some not correct information. I'll say that, the extent of it. So I'll leave that alone. But right now, we look okay.